Good evening. My name is Sarah Ferguson, and I am a third year behavioral neuroscience student at Florida State University.
And I'm Zachary Scott, a third year psychology student at Florida State University. We worked with Dr. Thomas Joyner and graduate students Austin Gallier and Michael Dayusik on this project called Implicit Suicidal Cognitions, an examination of a new approach to the death implicit association test.
Suicide is considered to be a major global health problem and is currently the 15th leading cause of death overall, even more so in some subpopulations and age groups. Despite this, there's little known about what causes suicide and little known about how to prevent it. In 2010, there was a Knox study entitled the Death Implicit Association Test, using the idea that implicit cognition could be measured through association to try to help to predict suicidality. In our test, we used the original implicit association test done in the Knox study, as well as an improved mouse tracking version, which used mouse tracking other than keyboard reaction time to measure association. Our two main questions was, does the mouse tracking work, and does it work better than the initial association test used in the Knox study?
We recruited 117 undergraduate students, targeting for those with a history of suicidal ideation. After signing an informed consent form, participants completed 4 tests to collect information on suicidal history and measured implicit association. The first test is the Depressive Symptom Inventory, which assesses frequency and controllability of suicidal thoughts over the last 2 weeks. Next, we administered the DIAT, which measures implicit associations between self and deaf concepts using keyboard reaction time. During this task, participants are presented with words in the center of the screen, one at a time. For each stimulus, participants categorize the stimulus into one of two categories using a keyboard. Categories represent mortality-related concepts death and life, as well as attribution me and not me. Reaction times are measured as the participant categorizes each stimulus. For this study, a final score is computed, with positive scores indicating a stronger implicit association with death, whereas negative scores indicate a stronger implicit association with life. After this, we administered the DMIAT. During this task, participants are presented with the same mortality-related concepts and attribution pairings as the DIAT. Participants begin each trial by clicking on a start button located at the bottom center of the screen. Once this occurs, the program begins to track the path of their cursor from this location and a stimulus is presented. The participant then clicks the corresponding category for that stimulus. The idealized trajectory is the straight line that represents the smallest distance between the start point and the end point. Hence, negative scores represent cursor trajectories below the idealized trajectory, and positive scores represent cursor trajectories above the idealized trajectory. Finally, the participants take the self-injurious thoughts and behaviors interview, which collects information about participants' suicidal ideation history throughout the course of their lifetime.
After our data was collected, we used several different ANOVA tests to analyze our hypotheses, hoping to answer the two questions: does the mouse tracking work to show interaction? And two, does it work better than the implicit association test done by Knock? Our ANOVA showed that there was no significant interaction between suicide attempt history and mortality related concept attribution pair for either the mouse tracking or the implicit association test done in 2010.
One limitation of our study is that our sample was recruited from college students, which means that our results may not generalize across different demographic populations. Another is that our study focuses on suicidal history rather than future behavior, meaning that while our results were null, we cannot use these results to generalize future suicidal behaviors. In the future, work can be done to create an algorithm that makes the DMIAT more closely resemble the DIAT. This kind of algorithm may better relate to suicidal behavior than the mouse tracking dependent measures used in this study. If you have any questions about our work, feel free to ask us, and thank you for watching our presentation.